Can you identify and determine the various threat actors? Stick around. After this episode, you will be able to.
You're watching IT Pro TV.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to more CySA Plus. That's right. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the various threat actors. Dan, where are we going to get started with this?
Yeah, we've got a lot of threat actors to get through. And well, let's start off with this really quickly. Let's identify why we're talking about threat actors. Because if we don't know the types of threats that are going to come against our systems or organizations, then it can make our jobs a whole lot more difficult. So we need to be able to identify what type of actors might be focusing in on our organization, right? So that's the importance of knowing the different types. So that's why we're going to run down this list.
You know, one of the things I think about when I classify these is kind of like the knowledge level, right? And behind it, whether it might be the motivation, but I like to start with the knowledge level. So let's go ahead and start out with what I would say probably the lowest one on the totem pole, and maybe even something that I fall under, and that's script kiddies. Can we define that?
Sure. You know, we all start somewhere, right? Script kiddies, while a pejorative term in a lot of ways, skids, skiddies, here are many different ways that you can use that terminology. It's really meant to say this is someone that doesn't have a high technical level of expertise when it comes to hacking or security threats, things of that nature, but they do have enough to be able to cause some damage, right? So a lot of times they'll have basically like hit or miss success because they don't, or I don't want to say they don't understand the technologies. They don't understand it to the extent that they would get why or it did or did not work, right? They just know, hey, I've got this script. It's supposed to attack, you know, Windows systems. Okay, great. What do I do with it? Well, I fire the script off against every Windows system I can find and maybe even some Linux and Mac OS. Why not, right? It's fun because I'm a script kiddie. That's what I do. I have a script. I use it. Hopefully it works. If it does, yay, I have access. So it's not that they can't cause damage, and it's not that they're not dangerous. They very much are. But their ability to focus in and actually take down a target because they understand the technologies and even the script that they're using is probably limited in a lot of ways, right? So that's what we're talking about when it comes to script kiddies. Typically very noisy, right? They don't know how to keep quiet. They don't know how to stay in the shadows. Also, their motivations, just really quick, typically malicious for maliciousness' sake, right? They're a kid who's found a knife or something or a broken beer bottle, and they're, you know, what are you doing? Oh, stop what you're doing. But it's fun. I know it's fun to hack things. But you shouldn't do that because that's people's stuff, and it's important to like respect that. So a lot of times we see that. Other reasons, petty. Usually just some sort of pettiness, either jealousy or maybe even revenge, where, oh, I'm going to hack someone's stuff and I'm going to ruin them. So we see that a lot with script kiddies. So like I said, not highly technical, but still dangerous nonetheless.
All right, so let's go ahead and kind of work ourselves up that rung of that ladder of experience and knowledge here. Let's talk a little bit about the weekend warriors, like I like to remember them, you know, the recreational hackers.
Recreational hackers.
That's why I call it weekend warriors,
Yeah,
because I can't say recreational.
Yeah, he's having trouble with that one.
That's right.
It's a long word, though. So
it is.
You'll get it one day. So recreational hackers, these are probably much more skilled. I say probably. They are more skilled hackers. They're not usually a skid. So they probably see hacking as like a hobby. It's like a game. It's something fun to do. They enjoy the challenge of it, the puzzle behind it. Not always monetizing that skill set. They probably do work in IT in some way, shape, or form, and that's where they're learning a lot of their skills, or at least their technical knowledge. And then they just say, you know what, I really like trying to figure out how to do things. I know that I partake in this from time to time, do CTFs or capture the flag, where it's basically a purposefully built game that you hack. So you try to find vulnerabilities in software or web applications or something and gain access to the system. It's a lot of fun. I like that. Motivations a lot of times is bragging rights, right? Out to prove your skill set. So I can say, hey, yeah, I did that hacking challenge and I got a badge I put on my LinkedIn or something to that effect. So very skilled people, but maybe you won't see them so much as a threat, but we do need to know that they are out there just for completeness sake.
All right, so again, moving up that ladder, let's go from the recreational to the people that really know what they're doing, and we're talking about the pros, right?
Yes, professional hackers, very skilled people, right? Very skilled individuals. They have a high level of technical acumen, right? Here's the thing. they are professionals, right? When you hear the word professional, you should think, this is how I make my living. And that's exactly what we're talking about. So you can almost put them in the category of basically a computer mercenary, and if that makes sense, where whoever's paying them is who they work for, and that's where they plant their flag as far as their loyalties go. So if you have the right amount of money, maybe they'll put a black hat on, right? If you have the right amount of money, maybe they'll put a white hat on and help you secure the thing that they were just hacking 5 days ago. They're happy to do that. They don't care. It's all about I say it's all about. It's right. It's a lot about the do-re-mi, because it's how they pay their bills and they have fun and do all the things that we like and enjoy in life. It's how they earn their living. Okay. So that's a professional hacker. Like I said, I want to do emphasize on the idea that this could be a white hat. It could be a black hat. So if you see somebody out there and you're like, wow, this guy's a really skilled, or this lady, man, she's got a great blog on computer security. That doesn't mean they're not using those skills to in a bad way, right? It's all about the money in that case.
Now, Dan, I know with like the first three that we've talked about, the script kiddie,
Yep.
recreational hacker, pro hacker, they've all got motivations. But this next set of classifications, if you will, to me, I like to think that it really centers around what is their intent. And let's talk about the cyber criminal.
Yeah, let's move on, because this is probably what most of us are thinking about when you start thinking about threat actors per se, is the cyber criminal. These are the people that have a high set of skills, that know a lot about technology, and are able to abuse the said technologies to their ill-gotten gain, right? So they're going to steal, they are going to pilfer, and they're going to take from you, because that's what they do. It's, again, how they make their money, but almost invariably, they do it as a black hat. That's what they do. I am a criminal, I'm going to steal. Think of it as a bank robber. They probably know a lot about banks, right? Probably could tell you the inner workings of a bank. Someone that is like a very technical bank robber would know about vaults and be able to crack safes and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean they're a good person, or that they know that stuff are good things. Same thing with a cyber criminal. Now, I do say that they have a high set of skills. That's not always true. That's probably most of the time true, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So the skill levels can vary, but we typically see the people that are more successful have the higher level of skill. They hack to steal or extort money from people. Think of organized crime, ransomware, identity theft, blackmail. They'll deal in stolen goods or intellectual property. So if I was a cyber criminal, I would break into Wes's organization's servers, steal some intellectual property, and then sell that on the dark web. Or maybe I've been hired by his competitor to do that, right? So there you go. And then I guess that would put me in kind of the professional hacker role, but I would be acting as a black hat in that way.
All right, following along that thought process of motivation, when I think of motivation intent, this one here really lends itself, just the title alone, lends itself to this type of threat actor, and that's the hacktivist.
Yeah, that's Wes. He's a hacktivist. I don't know if y'all know that.
True story.
That's right.
True story.
He has a large following about people that abuse hats.
That's right.
Weird, but
yeah.
Hey, everybody's got their thing, right?
Activist.
He's a hat hacktivist. I
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right.
It's fun. Right. We're kidding. We're having a good time. But a hacktivist, right? What is that? Someone that uses those hacking skills to further a cause that they believe in, right? Maybe it's something about justice, or maybe a morality thing, or maybe an ideology. But they're going to use that to further that cause. Obviously, my mind runs immediately to groups like Anonymous. They're probably the most well-known hacktivist group around. They've been known for hacking into like the Ashley Madison hack, right? They've hacked hospitals because they were holding a little girl against her parents and her will because they thought they knew better. And the Anonymous group hacked at them. The Church of Scientology, they hacked against them because they found them to be objectionable in some way, shape, or form. So you will see those out there. If you do draw the ire of a hacktivist, you better bar the door up really well, because you're probably in for a long haul. They are very skilled people. Plus, they have a large number of group, or they can have a large group rallying people to their cry that also have skills and sets. Really hard to deal with them because they can be disparate. They're not, it's not like you can go to Anonymous's headquarters and go, hey, you in there, stop doing that. And they go, oh, well, I'm sorry, we shouldn't have done that. But you shouldn't be doing that either. That's not how this works. It's just usually small, disparate groups of people that have come together for a common goal and then spread to the four winds yet again. So it's really difficult to deal with them as a hacking type.
You know, the next one that comes to mind, I think of lots of money behind them, lots of resources, and probably when I think of things like advanced persistent threats, very, very capable at performing these. And these are the state sponsors, right? The people that have governments behind them.
Yeah, these state-sponsored hackers are no joke. Definitely top tier of your hacking echelons as far as skill sets go. These people have been groomed, have been taught, have been given all the tools necessary, build the tools necessary, and of course the full funding and resources that come from their governments to give them everything they need to be successful. So you got to definitely look out for this type of thing. Also known as nation-state hackers a lot of times. So if you hear state-sponsored or nation-state, that's synonymous together. They're very skilled, access to unique resources, right? They conduct espionage, sabotage, censorship, etc. Their targets include internal, external targets. That means that they will be hacking for reasons. Maybe there are internal threats to their government. So maybe sleeper cells of terrorism that's going on. They want to hack those communication networks, infiltrate information, that kind of stuff. Or, of course, most states have external threats. People that come from different countries or organizations, they're actively attacking that nation state. So they're going to basically hack back. They're going to attack them. Instead of boots on the grounds with guys and guns and Kevlar helmets and stuff, they're just going to use the digital warfare of today, which is the soup du jour, to attack each other on that digital battleground. That's what we're seeing with these state-sponsored hackers.
All right. The next one's can be scary at times, right? And it's definitely okay, I'm going to get my movie reference here. It's a clear and present danger. And these are the terrorists, right?
Terrorism, man, that's not a fun thing to say or think about, but it is a reality. And terrorists will hire, groom, recruits, whatever you want to call it, hackers to their kind of in the same way that hacktivism works, but here with terrorism, they're going to take it to the next step and say, yes, my ideology is different than yours. And because of that, I'm going to injure you or kill you, right? So there is a human cost when it comes to terrorism. So it's a very important aspect for us to be worried about when it comes to threat actors. If you've got terrorists focusing in on your organization, they mean to do some serious harm and damage, either to life, liberty, or property. Right? So, and to cause economic chaos, you name it. So this is a really big deal. You got to be on the lookout for these things. So their desires to spread fear through the use of their hacking capabilities. They target critical systems, water power, transportation, right? Communications. These are systems that they would love no more than to get at those systems and to cause damage to them. Because if we lost power, we've seen this happen, Wes. You remember when we had the big power outage in the Northeast, I forget, maybe about 10 years ago now. It was complete chaos, pandemonium, if I'm remembering correctly. That's the kind of thing that they would love to. And it doesn't just have to be against the United States. It can be all sorts of terrorism going in many different countries. So this isn't just limited to us. So, terrorists, hopefully that's not something you're having to worry about, but you at least need to know about them.
All right, Dan. So on our next topic, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get in our time machine, and we're going to take a little trip back to the, I would say, the year 1993.
Oh, I was going to say 1955.
Not 1955. See, he thought he knew where I was going.
Okay.
And our next topic, I'm going to take you to a movie of, basically, it's this little park with a bunch of dinosaurs in it. All right. And inside of that movie, we've got somebody that works for the corporation that spared no expense. And one of the things that really sets that whole movie off is the fact that he sabotaged from the inside the company. Now, that is what, to me, seems like the classic example of what's known as an insider.
Yeah, Wes, I would say you nailed that wholeheartedly. That is a perfect picture of what an insider or an insider threat would look like to an organization. And not only that, we also get to see how dangerous an insider threat can be because, why? They have trust. They have access. They did all the hard stuff already, which is get behind all the security implementations that we've put in to stop people from doing bad things, right? We handed them the keys and said, hey, go in there and don't mess anything up. Hopefully that would be great, right? And then now what has happened? Well, somebody felt disgruntled. Somebody felt unappreciated. And through those feelings, they were motivated to act out, unfortunately for that organization, in a very untasteful way, and causing the death of many, many people. I want to kill, I guess it normally doesn't go that way. Hopefully it doesn't. That's a dinosaur park that doesn't exist, so we can talk about that. That being said, insider threats, hopefully you're starting to see why that is one of the more dangerous things, and honestly, more often than not, is something that we don't tend to brace ourselves for or to look for. We think the people that we've hired, they work for the company. They're going to do what the company needs and what's best for them. Not always the case. So we have to be on the lookout. Specific things we need to be aware of when it comes to insiders. They don't necessarily have to have any kind of in-depth skill set to be able to hurt our computer systems or to steal data. They just need to know how to access the data, copy the data, and take the data out from there and give it to somebody else. I saw it last year happen with a large phone company. I think it was a mobile carrier, maybe an AT&T. I can't remember now off the top of my head, but they were being paid by the Chinese government to exfiltrate data. And I think it was Chinese government. It might have been Koreans. I don't remember. Some bad group out there, some APT said, here's some money, bring me data. They said, okay, right? And because they felt underappreciated or they were just greedy, right? There's another great motivator for an insider threat. I just want that money. I don't care about this company. I need to have a new garage put on. I need to have a pool installed. So give me 25 grand and not that that's really going to do anything. Give me 50 grand and we'll do this, right? So there you go. Those are good motivations. Also another motivation could be blackmail, right? If Wes is my boss and I feel like he does not appreciate me or he treats me badly, maybe I'm going to find out some dirt on him and threaten to expose him with that dirt if he doesn't, give me money or treat me better or whatever the case is, right? So there's those things. They have access to trusted sources and they can actually be more successful than a lot of external sources because of their level of trust and access. So don't forget those people running around inside your office building. Just because they work there, it doesn't mean they don't have a hidden agenda. So you just got to be watching and monitoring for those types of threats as well.
All right, and you were right. That was AT&T. It was a person that had access to the hardware in a Washington call center that they got a hold of. So good memory on that one. So speaking of memory, let's go ahead and keep in mind some of the things that you've learned and identified in this episode. Remember, we started out at the bottom of the pile, right, when it comes to experience. We talked about script kiddies. Then we went up the chain a little bit to recreational hackers, the professional hackers, and then, again, when we talk about motivation, cyber criminals, state sponsors, remember the terrorist, and then finally, always remember the magic word, and that was the insiders. We got a lot more to come when it comes to CySA Plus, but we're way out of time for this episode, so we hope you will follow us along that journey.
Thank you for watching IT Pro TV.